A second act, Trump returns to the White House. Donald Trump had done it again. Defying the odds and silencing his critics, he had secured a second term as President of the United States. The 2024 election was one for the history books, a testament to Trump's enduring appeal among his base and his uncanny ability to dominate the media landscape. This victory was not just a win for Trump, but a seismic shift in American politics, signaling the consolidation of a new political reality. Trump's return to the White House was unprecedented in modern American history. No president in recent memory had faced such a divisive and contentious political climate, yet emerged victorious. His re-election was a rejection of the status quo, a defiant roar from a segment of America that felt unheard and unseen. Trump's supporters saw it as a validation of their beliefs, a sign that their chosen leader would continue to fight for their interests. His detractors, on the other hand, were left grappling with a profound sense of unease, fearing the implications of 4 more years of Trump at the helm. The Trump era was far from over. It had just begun its second act. The campaign trail rallies, rhetoric, and reaching the base. Trump's 2024 campaign was a masterclass in populist messaging and media manipulation. From the outset, he tapped into the anxieties and frustrations of his core supporters, painting a picture of a nation under siege by radical forces. His rallies were legendary, drawing in massive crowds eager to hear his fiery rhetoric and promises to make America great again. He skillfully leveraged social media to bypass traditional media outlets and control the narrative. Twitter became his virtual megaphone, blasting out a constant stream of pronouncements, attacks on his opponents, and pronouncements of his own greatness. Through it all, he never strayed far from his core message that he was the only one who could protect America from the forces that threatened its very existence. His campaign rallies were more akin to rock concerts than political events, fueled by a potent mix of patriotism, grievance, and anger. Trump fed off the energy of the crowd, delivering speeches that were light on policy specifics but heavy on emotional appeals. He railed against the fake news media, the radical left, and the deep state, casting himself as a lone warrior battling against corrupt forces determined to destroy America. Election night 2024, a nation divided, a victory secured. Election night 2024 was a nail-biter, a testament to the deep divisions that cleaved the nation. As the results trickled in, it became clear that the race would be far closer than many had predicted. The electoral map told a story of 2 Americas, one clustered along the coasts and in urban centers, the other sprawling across the heartland. The tension was palpable as key battleground states remained too close to call. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, states that had swung the election in Trump's favor 4 years earlier, once again emerged as crucial battlegrounds. When the dust finally settled, it was Trump who emerged victorious. He had once again defied the polls and the pundits, securing a narrow but decisive victory in the Electoral College. His victory speech was classic Trump, a mix of triumphalism, grievance, and promises to fight for the forgotten men and women who had delivered him a second term. To America's jubilation and resistance on the streets, the news of Trump's victory triggered a wave of emotions across the country, a stark reflection of the deep polarization that defined American society. In the streets, 2 Americas emerged, one ecstatic, the other defiant. For Trump's supporters, it was a moment of unbridled joy. From small towns to big cities, they poured into the streets, waving flags, honking horns, and chanting, 4 more years. For them, Trump's victory was a validation of their beliefs, a sign that their America was back on track. They saw in Trump a protector, a fighter who would stand up for their values and their interests. But for others, Trump's re-election was a bitter pill to swallow. Protests erupted in cities across the country, fueled by anger, fear, and a deep sense of foreboding. The stark contrast between these 2 Americas, one celebrating and the other protesting, was a stark reminder of the deep chasm that existed within American society. Section 5, Echoes of History, Trump's re-election in context. Trump's re-election, while shocking to some, was not entirely without precedent. Throughout American history, there have been presidents who have defied expectations and secured a second term against the odds. Like Andrew Jackson, Trump tapped into a vein of populist anger, positioning himself as the champion of the common man against a corrupt and elitist establishment. His fiery rhetoric and disdain for traditional political norms resonated with a segment of the population who felt left behind and ignored by the political class. And like Richard Nixon, Trump was a master of exploiting social divisions and stoking cultural anxieties to his advantage. He understood the power of resentment and skillfully used it to mobilize his base and demonize his opponents. However, Trump's re-election also stood apart in its own unique way. Never before had social media played such a dominant role in a presidential election, allowing Trump to bypass traditional media gatekeepers and speak directly to his supporters. Trump's re-election marked a turning point in American political history. Section 6. Inaugural Address, a glimpse into Trump's second term. The crisp January air crackled with anticipation as Donald Trump stood before the nation, ready to deliver his second inaugural address. The crowd, a sea of red "Make America Great Again" hats, roared their approval, their cheers echoing through the National Mall. Trump, ever the showman, seemed to relish the moment, his face beaming with confidence. His speech was vintage Trump, a mix of bravado, grievance, and populist appeals. He touted his accomplishments, railing against the fake news media and the deep state he claimed had sought to undermine his presidency. He promised a continuation of his America First agenda, vowing to crack down on illegal immigration, renegotiate trade deals, and put America's interests first on the world stage. He spoke of restoring American greatness, of a nation no longer beholden to foreign powers or globalist elites. However, amidst the familiar rhetoric, there were hints of a potential shift in tone. Whether these words signaled a genuine desire for reconciliation or were merely calculated rhetoric remained to be seen. Section 7. The challenges ahead, a divided nation and a complex world. As Trump embarked on his second term, he faced a daunting array of challenges, both domestic and international. At home, the nation remained deeply divided along political, social, and cultural lines. The wounds of the 2024 election were still fresh, and the partisan rancor that had come to define American politics showed no signs of abating. The economy, while strong on the surface, masked underlying vulnerabilities. Income inequality continued to widen, and many Americans struggled to make ends meet despite a booming stock market. The COVID-19 pandemic, while receding, had left an indelible mark, exposing deep flaws in the nation's healthcare system and social safety net. On the world stage, Trump faced a rapidly shifting geopolitical landscape. Climate change, a looming existential threat, demanded urgent action, yet remained a politically divisive issue both domestically and internationally. To Section 8, the Trump legacy, a presidency forged in controversy. Donald Trump's presidency will forever be etched in the annals of American history as one of the most consequential and controversial in the nation's history. His unconventional style, his disregard for political norms, and his penchant for stoking division left an indelible mark on American politics and society. His supporters hailed him as a transformative figure, a disruptor who challenged the status quo and fought tirelessly for the forgotten men and women he claimed had been ignored by the political establishment. They pointed to his economic policies, his appointment of conservative judges, and his tough stance on immigration as evidence of his success. His detractors, however, viewed him as a demagogue, a threat to American democracy who had eroded democratic norms, stoked racial and social divisions, and damaged America's standing in the world. Trump's legacy will continue to be debated for generations to come. Whether he exacerbated those divisions or merely brought them to the surface is a question that historians will grapple with for years to come. Section 9. America's future, uncertainty, and the path forward. As Trump's second term began, America found itself at a crossroads. The nation seemed more divided than ever, and the political landscape fractured and the future uncertain. The challenges facing the country, from economic inequality to climate change to a rapidly shifting global order, were daunting. The path forward was unclear. Would Trump, emboldened by his re-election, continue to govern in a divisive and polarizing manner? Or would he seek to heal the wounds of a fractured nation and unite Americans around a common purpose? As the world's oldest democracy, America had long served as a beacon of hope and inspiration for those striving for freedom and self-government. The choices made in the years ahead would determine whether the nation would emerge from this turbulent period stronger and more united, or continue down a path of division and decline.